no, man. Are we on, Ian? Are we good?
We're on. Yep, we're recording.
Oh, by the way, we're going by CJ.
Let's go by Nephew4Real.
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 The whole thing.
The whole thing.
All right, and I'm in, and we're presenting you as an artist, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, because I don't do like a heavy intro, so Ian and Leo take care of that for me, so it's pretty great. So we can just do like what we do now is kind of a pop clip. Like you're gonna say something great in this next 45 minutes or an hour, and that'll be like the lead, and then they just roll into us talking, so it's no big deal. So, yeah, man. So are we good, Ian? Or we're like,
I'm gonna do just a few claps.
some clap.
And CJ. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
All right, man.
All
Welcome,
right.
dude. Welcome. What's it like being out on this side of the wall, man? You've been in the studio, been on the other side, laying down some magic, man. What's it like to be out on this side?
Hey, man, it's dope. It's different. I'm embracing it.
Yeah.
It's definitely something that I've been waiting for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I know you. It's funny. I haven't had this experience yet. You told me like, hey, I check out the show. I've seen it. So before we get into your stuff, man, just tell me about your take on the show so far. What do you like when you see this, or what got your attention about the podcast in general?
Well, mental health is something that probably has gone underlooked or overlooked, probably for like the history of time. And more recently than now, probably over the last 5 to 10 years, the world has probably done a better or tried to do a better job of caring more and being concerned about mental health. So you having a podcast, running that mental health show, and having content, interviewing other people in the world and sharing their life stories and the things that they've gone through with their life, the ups and the downs and the trials and tribulations. It's a true testimony because I can see myself in them.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're definitely both young at heart guys, but I'm a little older than you. So, when I grew up, dude, there was like no mental health talk. It was like, it wasn't even a thing. I mean, I was back in the like, suck it up, be a man, rub some dirt in it, like guys don't have feelings kind of stuff. So for you coming up, I mean, was mental health and the need for mental health or your awareness of your mental health, was that on your radar as a kid, or is that something that's been more recent?
That's a good question. No, it hasn't.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't even in school.
Yeah.
Even in school, they weren't even implementing it in the curriculum. I think they were moving towards it.
Yeah.
But I think mental health was just something that I individually just like suck out for myself.
Yeah, just kind of had a sense of how you fit and how you felt.
Yeah, because it was like, honestly, after playing baseball, basketball, and football my whole life, I had a hard time with my identity and figuring out who it is that I am after I moved on and dropped out of college, because I had been used to the love and the adoration of the fans, the family, my friends, and seeing my name in the newspapers and all different types of things like that. And then moving on from that and just being a regular dude working a 9 to 5, ain't nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? Shout out to all the guys out there who are working 9 to 5s, man. You guys are the consistency to be able to wake up in the morning and grind for 15, 20 years is something that goes overlooked. But going back to me struggling with my identity, I think a lot of athletes do, because we're so used to that. Just being that guy, being the one everybody looks to, the attention, the love and the hate, everything that comes with it. But when that stopped for me, I was like struggling with, okay, am I a construction worker? Am I a carpenter? Am I going to be what do I want to do? What am I supposed to do? So somehow I ended up here making music.
Yeah. And we're gonna talk about your music, man, for real. So, I mean, I say for real because that's that's part of your name, Nephew4Real, man.
For real.
So you got some stuff coming. We're definitely gonna dig into that. But I want to talk about who you were before, because you talked about that athlete. So, I mean, growing up, where did you grow up, and how did you was athletics always part of it? Is that just who you were from the start?
Yeah. So growing up, I'm from Amherst, New Hampshire.
Yep.
Born and raised there. Athletics was always something. Athletics was always something that's been a part of my family. I'm the second out of the 8 children in my family.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm the second youngest.
You had a whole team in the house.
We had a whole team. With a bench. Hell yeah. So, but yeah, it was always in all of us.
Mm-hmm.
I think probably out of all of the siblings, I was gifted with the most ability.
Yeah.
Maybe because I'm shorter than everybody.
Okay.
Probably.
You don't hear that one. You usually get the opposite, right? Like some
Yeah.
big, but you felt like that was an advantage. I mean, you were like more of a speed guy, and yeah.
Honestly, the way I saw it was if I was shorter, I wish I was shorter because it would make everything I did that much crazier.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen dudes like that, right? Like the Barry Sanders of the world,
Muggsy Bowles,
Muggsy, Steph, even. I mean, he's
Yeah.
not a huge guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they're just out there, man, creating havoc.
Yeah, even in football, man, you can't touch what you can't catch.
Tyreek. Right?
Tyreek, yeah.
I mean, So I mean, I'm imagining brothers and sisters, y'all are playing just all the time, just sports athletics, and you get into school and making teams and that kind of stuff. So
yeah, usually it was me and my younger brother. We were we were playing sports together most of the times. My older brothers and my older siblings, they were gone out the house doing their thing.
Yeah.
Because we all have at least 4 years in between us. But all my older brothers are all in their 30s, like late 30s now. Yeah, they're old.
Man, your parents, dude. Like 8 kids, 4 years between. That's some serious planning, dude. Like
Serious.
decades of work.
Hey, shout out to them, man.
Decades, man. So tell me about Amherst itself. I mean, was sports just like that? That was the way. Like, I mean, do you consider that a big town, small town? Like, I know New Hampshire, but I've never really spent much time there.
Amherst is a small town.
Yeah.
Small town. I didn't play much sports in Amherst because of how small it was.
Yeah.
So I was in Nashua.
Yeah.
I was in Nashua, New Hampshire for basically like my whole life.
Yeah.
So I played National Rec League. I played all the way up until like Biddy, Bantam, and then I went to high school in Nashua as well. I went to Bishop Gurton.
Okay.
Yeah.
So real comp. I mean, you're playing like that's a big city around here. Yeah. So this may seem like a silly question because we talked about before. Like we kind of have that in common. I've got an athletic background. Yours is more recent for sure. But I mean, for those who haven't had that experience, because as we talk about identity and how that felt good and things like that, like what is it like day in, day out growing up as like the athlete? Like, did it change how people saw you? Did people treat you differently because of it? Like, what were you feeling? You know, the comment is like the big man on campus, right? Or the guy in the papers, or, you know, the jock or the stud athlete. But like, I think we kind of dismiss that and we just sort of like assume that everybody knows what that is. But like, what's it like to be that guy? I mean, is it a lot of fun? Is it a lot of work? Like, what's so seductive and so interesting about being the athlete that it was hard to transition out of, you know?
Well, with great talent comes great responsibility.
Sure.
So
Spider-Man taught me that.
Yeah. Shout out to Peter Parker.
All of them.
Hey, all of them, right?
There's like 12 of them now, dude.
I just saw that movie. It was a great movie.
Yeah,
It
my
was
kids
actually
like
one of the
that.
best movies, one of the best Spider-Man movies I've seen, honestly, recently.
My kids like that.
Yeah.
But you felt that responsibility. So it wasn't all fun and games. It wasn't just going to
Even,
parties and getting
like,
the girls. It
just
was like
going into my ninth grade, my freshman year.
Yeah.
My English teacher, Miss Prunier, she always brought in newspaper articles every morning in home period. She'd always be like, "Yo, CJ, I seen you in the newspaper again. Did you see the article? I'm like, "Nah, I didn't see it. Let me see it, shit." Knowing damn well I'd already
like 3
done better.
copies.
Yeah.
yeah, man, yeah. But kids are seeing that, right? They're like, they react to you like, "Oh man, he's the man." The teachers are treating him like a peer, not like a kid. Getting some love that way, and so.
But there was never really any jealousy between my classmates and I, because I think I did an exceptional job keeping myself like humble.
Yeah.
Humility is really important.
Why did you think like that as a kid? Because most people could just like suck it up and be like, "I must be the man."
I'm a team player. I don't like feeling like I'm better than the next man or the next man is any lesser than I am. And especially once I got to college and I realized in baseball, everybody's good.
Yep.
I mean, everybody is the best kid from their city. Everybody is an all-state player from their wherever they're from. So try to make things work. And the best thing, the way to make things work is just to be a team player and not to belittle anybody, to make an example out of them in order for me to feel better about myself.
I connect with you on that because I can remember, and baseball's changed now, man. Everybody's throwing 90 now.
Man, even like the kids, even like the nerdy kids who got the glasses, sit at the table by themselves at lunchtime. I'll go over to them and I'll go sit down and I'll chop it up with them.
Yeah.
Shout out to Shree. Hopefully you're still making that Halo game. I didn't forget.
Hey, those guys with the glasses end up rich, dude. Like they create things, right? Like they're in charge now. It's like, that's interesting, man, because it's not typical. Like I hope you understand that that's not typical, because I'm not saying that I was a jerk as an athlete, but I knew a lot of people that definitely were.
So did I.
And that's the stereotype.
I knew a lot of assholes, but I knew I didn't want to be one of those.
Yeah.
First of all, that's not even how I was raised.
Right.
My mama didn't raise me like that. My dad didn't raise me like that.
Yeah. Family values, man. That's that foundation. That makes a big difference. Yeah, for sure. And I think sometimes parents get that vicarious love, right? Like their kid's the best one, so they get addicted to it a little bit too. You know what I mean? And the bigger you get, the more shine they get. So it's like, all right, just let them go. But you got to have that foundation, because you talk about how like all the best athletes move up, man. It's so hard to make it every time you go up a level. You know, like I said, when I was playing in high school, every now and then we'd face a kid who threw 90. We're like, ooh, this kid throws 90. When I got to college, everybody threw 90. Everybody threw 90. Like you weren't playing unless you threw 9 plus, right? Yeah. And actually, the kids that was throwing into 8s were worse because they had cut all over the place. You had to have exceptional movement if you're going to stick around without the speed, you know. So, and then imagine going from there to the pros and stuff like
so
that.
On and so forth.
So, with your career, man, it's so funny. They say the game will let you know when it's time to move on, right? So, was it about the talent jump up, or what happened with your career that, you know?
It wasn't about the talent. I've always had the talent.
You could play?
Yeah. So in 2015, I ended up going to American International College in Springfield, Massachusetts. I won the Rookie of the Year. It was all conference as well.
All right.
I ended up getting a full scholarship for the baseball program. Actually not one of the, it was the biggest scholarship that was ever handed out by the program.
It's hard to do because baseball doesn't get enough that everybody gets. People don't know that everybody gets like a quarter or a half or whatever. So that's a big deal.
So out of all the scholarships, I had $20,000. I walked onto the program my freshman year. So out of pocket, I needed to pay I think it was about 15, 17 grand or something like that. Basically the amount that my scholarship was worth.
Right.
So going into my sophomore year, I went to go register for my classes, but I still had a past due balance of 11 grand, so they wouldn't let me do it. Couldn't play on the team. I couldn't practice. I couldn't lift. I couldn't do nothing with the team. I couldn't be in the locker room or anything. So that demoralized me a lot because I put in a lot of work, and for me to depend on somebody else for me in order to play, it was just bro, I'm putting in 12 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
I wake up at 4:00 in the morning. I'm in the gym at 5.
Right. Which is what it takes.
Which is what it takes to get to that level and to be successful.
And that's it. They cut you loose. No, the coach didn't come in and save the day. The athletic director, they just.
There's nothing that they can do. That's up to the faculty at the admissions.
Yeah. So that's it.
They did their part. They gave me $20,000 in a scholarship.
Right.
What more are they supposed to do?
Right,
you know
right,
what I
right.
mean? It's okay, CJ, come up with the 11 grand.
Yeah.
With me, it's I'm playing summer baseball. I'm out in Ohio.
Yeah.
I'm traveling from Ohio. I'm going across Michigan, doing all this other stuff. I can't work.
Mm-hmm.
I got to hone my skills. I got to keep everything intact, because if I come back in the fall season and I haven't been playing no baseball, but I've just been working, I'm going to be that much further behind. So it was just a constant struggle of asking my parents, trying to find somebody to loan me some money. And I'm I just did all this. I got a full scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
So why can't y'all come up with this bread for me?
Yeah.
So I ended up transferring to a couple more schools. I transferred to Southern New Hampshire University, and then I went to Northern Essex Community College. And then after I tried to play baseball at those two schools, I was bro, fuck this. I'm not doing this. I'm not even going to try to do this anymore. I might as well just go get me a little job, work, get me a little girlfriend. I'll be chilling.
So you were out. You were out of sports. You were out of college. You were out.
I checked out completely. I hung up the cleats. I hung them up.
Yeah. So, we talk about, there's a lot of the research is done on the pros, but, when people lose that piece, they lose sports, they lose that foundation, substance abuse goes through the roof, negative behaviors go through the roof, mental health declines, abuse within relationships. And I'm not accusing you of any of these things. What I'm saying is that's a hard transition that people with a lot of resources have not navigated well. We've all seen professional athletes in the news.
I never thought I'd be the one to go through substance abuse or any type of drug abuse my damn self. But after I left college and I moved on from it, I found myself buying a 12-pack of Yinglings every day after work. because I just want to have a beer.
Yeah.
Find myself smoking like 4 or 5 joints a day for what?
Yeah.
I don't need to smoke that much. I never did.
So that's you now. What did it do for you then that you fell into it?
It was like an escape mechanism, a vice for like me not to think about whatever it was that I was thinking about.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I would imagine during that time there's a lot of uncertainty. What's next? Because, the discipline it takes to be an athlete, you're in practice every day. When you don't have formal practice, you're working out. Like, you're working on your craft the whole time. To lose all that, not only does it free up all those hours, but like that identity piece of
I
like, who I am.
I lost a lot of weight. Right now, I'm probably like 140 pounds soaking wet. Back then in college, I was 165.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I lost about like 30 pounds.
Yeah, because you're not training. You're not. Yeah. And you weren't. Doesn't sound like nutrition was high on your list right then.
Oh my gosh, yo, my regiment, my routine, my schedule, I was on it. So like once I was off of that routine and that regiment and that program, it was like all sense of
Yeah.
everything just went loose.
We're going to have to share some secrets on that because you stopped playing and you lose weight. I stopped playing and I was like, I went the other way. So we're gonna have to meet in the middle somewhere.
Yeah.
So how long was that period of your life, man? Because that sounds like that was tough. I mean, were you in that for years?
I was in that for some years, and I didn't even tell nobody this. I was in that for a couple of years. It was like a couple of years where I was just like drinking, smoking, doing nothing more than just going to work and coming home.
Yeah.
I didn't have a sense of no purpose. I didn't have fire. I didn't have no hunger. I didn't have no drive back then.
Right.
I didn't wake up in the morning and was like, word, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
It was like, all right, I'm waking up in the morning. I'm finna go do this motherfucking little job. I'm about to go make me my little. Actually, back then it was like $14 an hour.
Yeah, which is good money.
Which was good.
Back in the day.
Back in the day, it was better than it is now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Athletes need a goal, man, and it's hard to just do that Groundhog Day thing where it's just punch a clock, grind it out because you're not chasing anything. There's like the pursuers and the people who are getting pursued, and you weren't pursuing anything. You just feel like you're serving time in a way, because it's the same thing. Were you mentally or physically, whatever? I mean, looking back on it now, you've got some clarity on it, but were you struggling during that time? Were you unhappy? Were you suffering through that, or you just thought that was normal?
I thought it was normal.
Yeah, it's what adults do.
Yeah, I thought it was normal.
Yeah.
It wasn't really I never really thought I had any mental health issues or problems or like concerns like them like that, because there are people out there who really, really have something going on upstairs. So I would never play or joke around about that. But I still don't want to like act like I wasn't, you know what I mean? I wasn't myself, or I wasn't happy at the time, or I felt miserable at other times. And sometimes, maybe it was just more downs and ups at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things you said there, I worked as a therapist for a long time. People have to be careful of when they're managing their mental health, not falling into that trap of other people have it worse. So my problem's not worth, addressing or not worth dealing with. We don't do that in any other type of health, right? Like if your ankle hurts, you go get somebody to look at your ankle.
Right.
If you feel something in your heart, you go, you don't go, well, that guy had a heart attack, so my heart's probably not that bad. You go get checked out. You get that support.
That's a good point.
But with mental health, we don't do that. We're just like, nah, I can gut it out. It's okay. Or
why do we do that with mental health?
Why did you do that?
Conditioning.
Okay, tell me more about that.
Conditioning. I think it was because maybe it was because I was an athlete. Maybe it was because I was just like bred to be like, shake it off.
Yeah.
Dust your shoulders off. All right. Lace your shoes back up. Let's go.
Yeah. Are you hurt or are you injured? Remember that? Like if you're hurt, you can still play. If you're injured, you're out, right?
You're out.
So
yeah.
You're like, maybe I'm just hurt. Maybe I'll fight through the hurt,
I'll get through it. Ain't nothing.
I think that's part of it. I think also lack of education sometimes, right? Because like you said, people aren't taking psychology classes in high school. Most people learn about mental health on Instagram now,
And even back then, you couldn't even go on the internet and find nothing on mental health.
Yeah.
You couldn't even search mental health podcasts, and you might be able to come up with one or two back then.
Yeah, he had like Dr. Drew, right? Sometimes he'd talk about it a little bit on like Loveline and those shows. And you're a young guy. I mean, that's not that long ago. I mean, we're talking, what, 10 years?
7 years ago.
Yeah. So that is, that's the plus side. When people started getting serious about fighting that stigma, there are a lot more resources and awareness. At least we're having conversations around it, So
yeah, at least the conversation is is being had,
Yeah.
which is important.
Did it? It's just kind of a broad question, but did it? Did it get bad for you? I mean, how did you help figure it out? Because people talk about hitting bottom, and what that usually means is it sucks so bad they're like, I got to change some things here. Like, do you felt like you hit bottom on some of this stuff, or did you just gain awareness and be like, I got to make changes? Like, how did it start to turn around?
I don't know whether or not I hit rock bottom or not.
Gotcha.
Because I don't know what my rock bottom really is.
Yeah.
Shit. But fuck, I don't even know how to answer that question. That's a good question. Because at the time it was like I felt like I was at the lowest point in my life. So I needed something to change. And change usually starts happening when you have a change in personal beliefs.
Okay.
So I started believing there's something more out there for me.
Yeah.
And then randomly one day, I'm at work. I'm at this second job overnight that I had working at this motherfucking call center. This chick, she gave me a ride home. She was like, oh, my husband, he's a producer, he's an engineer. She starts freestyling in the car, blah, 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 blah. So I was just like, I bust out a freestyle too. She was like, yo, you should come down to you should come through one time, come smoke, hop in the studio, hop on the track or something. I was like, all right, cool. You know what I'm saying? Fuck it, see what happens. Then just ended up recording a song called Hennessy, and they ended up liking it. I showed it to a couple more people. They ended up liking the sound, and I was like, all right. I still don't even think I make like great music. Maybe I don't know when I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But
I think, well, we talk about that. I've heard some of your stuff. I think it's good, but I think that's an artist right there. Like, I don't think any artist has ever put a song down or painted a painting or wrote a book that was like, this is perfect. You know what I mean? You just feel like you do your best at it, and sometimes you get to that place where you let the world in and that you share it, and they can see it and hear it or whatever case may be. But I've seen interviews with lots of artists. They look back on it, and it's like something that they're famous for, and they're like, "Oh man, we should have done this instead of that." Like, you know what I mean? It's like I don't know. I don't think it's ever perfect. You know, you have to forgive yourself and release that idea of perfection if you're going to produce things. Because if so, you'd never show anybody anything.
I need to do a better job of that because I'm sitting on so much work right now that I'd be like,
yeah.
But then people call me, they'll email, be like, yo, send me some of your unreleased music. I'd be like, all right.
What holds you back? Is it fear? You think people won't like it? Is it just your own standards? Like, what holds you back from
my own standards?
Yeah.
Because I like what I like, and if I don't like it, I don't like it. I'm not gonna let you listen to it if I don't like it.
Right.
But it's not up to me. What I like, what you like.
Yeah.
What you like is what you like. You might not like the song that I like.
You gotta listen, I say listen because I read all my books by listening now because I'm just driving around. I'm like, reading. Like, what's reading? I wish I had time to sit and read a book, dude. I do it while I'm traveling, but I have Audible or whatever. And The Creative Act by Rick Rubin. Have you seen that or heard of that?
No, I haven't seen that.
So Rick Rubin works with all the big ones. I mean, Beastie Boys. I mean, he worked with Run DMC, Aerosmith, Avett Brothers. I mean, he's a king in the music business as far as a producer, And so he's kind of looking back on his life, and he talked about how the lessons he's learned from working with all these amazing artists. So you got to check it out. We got to get you a copy. It's great. But he talks about, he's like, it's not your idea, and it's not when you're ready for it to be out. He goes, you've been given that idea because the universe is ready for that idea to exist. And he says, sometimes it may not even go through you. Like, if you sit on an idea too long, it's going to come out through somebody else. You know what I mean? And so it's not just about fear, like you better let it out before somebody else does. It's about releasing your personal ownership of that and realizing the universe is ready for this idea. And I'm going to get it and do my best job with it, and I'm going to put it out there, and then we'll see. We'll see, And some of the biggest name artists you can imagine put out stuff that they thought was absolute shit. Goes crazy, right?
Yeah.
And he said the other thing is that they put out stuff that they've been absolutely in love with, and people are like, it's like because that was your idea. That wasn't the universe's idea, right? So you're a medium for what the universe wants to.
I see how you brought that back from circle. Yeah.
So which is a good way to kind of let yourself off the hook because it's really not about you.
It's not about me.
Yeah.
It's not about me at all.
That's what the universe is ready
and
for.
that's probably the best part about music and being an artist is it's not about me at all.
Yeah.
I create music for people to enjoy, have a good time, vibe, and listen to. It was honestly, it was never about me. Even my first song that I made, I never wanted to make it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Was music part of your life early on? Like, did you bring that talent from like a childhood, or was it just?
No. My daddy and my mama. I was grown up and raised in the church.
Gotcha.
Gospel.
Choir
boy. Yeah, that's
yeah.
why I can sing a little bit. That's why my voice sound like the way it do.
Yeah.
Because I was a choir boy. I couldn't listen to no hip hop.
Yeah.
Couldn't watch no Real Housewives of Atlanta. No, couldn't watch no BT, no Wildin' Out. I had to wait till my parents leave.
Yeah.
But then when they came back, I had to make sure the channel was turned to ESPN, because when they came back and the channel was on MTV, I get an ass whooping.
And you got to change it twice because they hit that last button. Right?
They hit the last button. You got to change it twice. Yo, I couldn't play GTA. I couldn't play Halo. I couldn't play Modern Warfare 2. I couldn't play no shooter, no violence, no nothing. Like I was really raised on like a good, straight and narrow path.
Yeah.
What happened down the road?
Yeah. Well, what did happen? Is that all come up in that time where you kind of lost yourself? I mean, because when I'm looking at your life story, I see like, family, choir boy, like you said, church, and then I see athletics, right? So it's kind of the all-American deal. And now I see you musician on this back end, but I feel like there's this gap in the middle there where you were searching and maybe lost a little bit.
It was between the ages of like 22 to 25.
Yeah.
I would say those 3 to 4 years, I was just figuring shit out.
Yeah.
Like trial and error.
Yeah. And not in a straight line.
No. I would work at a job for a year, go to the next one.
Yeah.
Because I just didn't want to work at a warehouse. I didn't want to work at a scrapyard. I didn't want to work over there. I didn't want to do no regular shit.
Yeah. Mine was a sandpaper factory. I worked at a sandpaper factory one summer and came home with bleeding fingertips, and I was like, nope, it's not gonna work.
I got to figure something out.
Yeah. What did your parents say, or what do they say about that period of your life? Because there's not much I see with choir boy and church and straight and narrow that like matches up or meshes well with like drinking, lost, figured it out, maybe tattoos, maybe the look change. I don't know. Like, were they worried about you, or
the tattoos? That's a whole another different story.
Yeah.
But they wanted me to get back into baseball.
Yeah.
They really wanted me to get back into baseball. They really wanted me to go back to college, go back to school, get my degree, and get back into sports.
Were they just worried about you?
They were.
Yeah.
They were worried because they knew how much potential that I had.
Yeah. That's hard for a parent.
And it's hard for a parent to sit there and just watch their child like go through some shit.
There's a phrase that a parent can only be as happy as their unhappiest child, right? And that's the level, and maybe they had a sense that you were unhappy during that time when you were lost. I mean, I don't know. Were you unhappy, or were you okay?
Shit, I felt like I was fine, honestly, because I had accepted the fact that I had moved on from baseball.
Yeah.
I accepted the fact that I was no longer going to be pursuing a professional athletic career.
Yeah.
So, damn, I'm fucking lying. I'm fucking lying right now.
I'm just gonna let you do it.
And I was miserable, bro. I was miserable. I mean, I would come home, like I said, I'd come home, I'd be drinking. I never came home and like immediately went to go crack open a beer.
Yeah.
Like having a drink is just have a drink whenever you want to have a drink.
Right.
It was always, I need to go take this substance to get my mind off of what I'm thinking about. So it was a good 3 to 4 years where I was just like lying to myself, like I need to do this.
Right. And isn't it interesting, like even in the moment, there's that impulse to even lie in retrospect a little bit about it, right? Not that you're under like this isn't an interrogation, right? Like who cares? There's no consequences, so you tell me whatever you want. I'll go, oh, that's neat. But even for yourself, it's like you want to kind of retell that story and smooth off some of those rough edges, But I bet it sucked. I bet it sucked sometimes, to be honest, because you had an aim, you had a goal, and to feel aimless and without a goal and kind of lost, I just don't think that that's in your nature, Probably. I know I'm please take this the right way, but like when you go see animals at the zoo and they're just wandering, and you can tell like there's a restlessness inside. Like you have more to offer the world. Like that tiger has more to offer the world than just like pacing.
Than just exactly and being boxed up and it's
Yeah.
enclosed.
And that's what I'm imagining with you. It's just like I'm closed in by this job. I'm maybe closed in by not positive relationships. I'm closed in by bad habits with myself and not a positive relationship with myself.
And then like the substance abuse would then translate over into my relationships with the chicks that I was dealing with at the time. We would get into like petty arguments.
Yeah.
Or it was never any DV or domestic violence or anything like that.
Yeah.
I never put my hands on women. And I'll never let a woman put her hands on me. I'll leave the motherfucking house.
Yeah.
If that shit ever happens to run.
Boundaries.
But it was just petty arguments. I would not give a fuck about her feelings and, you know.
I'm unhappy. You're unhappy. We're in the same place. So we'll just fuck with each other.
And then on top of that, it's like now she's drinking. Now she's
Yeah.
smoking more than she ever even wanted to do.
Yeah.
So now her health is she's getting bigger, right? I'm getting skinnier, but she's blowing up like a tent.
She's on my program. Yeah, dude.
Yeah. She's on my program, and then it's like, wow, fuck, I didn't fuck my life up, and then fucked her up too, just by default.
You felt responsibility, like you got her into it. Yeah. Same girl this whole time, or no? Okay. But you're just kind of dragging them down. Yeah.
It was a couple of different. It was a couple of different.
You had
girls.
the same influence on all of them though. Like
Yeah.
that negative
I mean, it
influence?
wasn't. I tried when I moved on to the next one. I tried doing it differently.
Sure, of course.
But it still ended up the same
same
result
place.
because I still brought my mind into the relationship. The same mind. I didn't let that mind go.
Yeah.
So I was still the same old me.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you mentioned twice now since we've been talking that, like, you know, why drink, and you're like, I'm trying to hide from those feelings, you know, I'm trying to hide from the, you know, what was it? What were the difficult feelings that you were hiding from? Now that you got some distance from it, can you look back and see exactly what you were trying to avoid?
I haven't really told anybody this, but I felt like a coward when I moved on and I dropped out of college and I stopped playing baseball. I knew with my talent I could have kept going. I could have went very, very far with it. Who knows how far I could have gone. But I knew I could have made a living and lived a modest life. And a lot of people's lives, careers were dependent upon my success. I let a lot of people down. I made promises that I didn't keep. And ultimately, I broke a lot of hearts. And that fucked me up afterwards for a long, long time. So that's something that always stuck with me.
Yeah, you still feel it now. You can tell.
Hell yeah. And shout out to Coach Collini.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because when you describe yourself as a team player, there's lots of different teams to be on, right? And you wouldn't have let your teammates down on the field, right? So then you got your off the field team, and you maybe felt like you let them down.
I felt like I let the whole team down.
Yeah.
The whole school.
Yeah.
Even the president of AIC.
Yeah.
I was like having meetings with the president of the school. It was like ridiculous the amount of like stuff that I didn't deserve was just given to me.
Yeah. What do you think life would look like now if you didn't end up in that car where the girl was like, you know, making music and said, "Let's go," and you know that moment seems to be like a real turning point for you. So
where would I be?
I just wonder what life would look like if that didn't happen.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't know. Because once that happened, I was in the studio like damn near every other day. Like, or whenever I could get the chance, I would just be in the studio because like people liked my music, they liked my art, they liked my work, they appreciated it.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow, like people actually like appreciate the work that I'm putting out. So fuck it, might as well just.
Right.
But where I would be if that never happened, shit, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
I'd probably still be in Florida somewhere.
I didn't know you were in Florida. You went down there for a while?
Yeah, I spent about half my life down in Florida.
Okay.
So
After baseball?
After baseball, I went down south. I went down south.
The geographic cure.
Yeah, I went down south. I thought I was making a complete life change, and I was gonna be like the best regular 9-to-5 dude that you'd have never met.
Because up here, I'm this guy, and I got to be a new guy, so I'm gonna head south.
I'm gonna head south.
Yeah.
New slate. Nobody knows who I am.
No expectations.
New expectations.
No team to let down.
So But then I still was like, I was still playing baseball though.
Oh, gotcha.
I was still playing in like a semi-pro league,
Okay.
amateur league down there.
Yeah, so a little bit of you went
A
with
little
it.
bit followed. A little bit followed. A little bit followed.
That's what you're familiar with.
Yeah.
But like everybody, we discover everywhere you go, there you are, right? You can't outrun you. And so this is all happening in Florida, and you're still, all those same feelings and emotions and stuff. And did the music thing start happening in Florida as well?
Music started happening in Florida.
Gotcha.
That started about 3 years ago during the pandemic, actually.
Oh, wow.
Pandemic.
Yeah. Which is an amazing story because I talked about this on the other podcast, we lost so many connections during the pandemic because the government was like, put on your mask, go sit in your room. You can walk in the park if nobody else is around, that kind of stuff.
If nobody else is around.
Remember they told us we get it from our dogs and everything. They didn't want us doing anything. They want us by ourselves. And then you found a way to connect during that time, and it seems like it's changed everything for you.
Yeah.
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 Was it right away? I mean, you found this avenue, and you said you're in the studio every day. You just threw yourself right into it.
Still was not right away.
Yeah.
It's like even like right now, it's kind of like it's just happening right now to me. I'm just now thinking it's happening to me like right now.
Okay. Even though you've been doing it for how long?
3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still a work in progress.
Still a work in progress.
Yeah. How do you think you'll know that you've made it or that you have made that change? Because I wonder if you're not just always going to be a work in progress.
How I know I made it is when I get on the 85 motherfucking South show. With Carlos Miller, Chico Bean, and DC Young Fly.
That's the goal.
That is the goal.
Yeah.
I'll know I made it when I'm on the 85 South show.
All right.
That's how I'll know I made it. Until I get on the 85 South show,
keep going.
I'm going to keep going. Well, I'm going to keep going regardless.
Right.
But I know I ain't make it until I get on that show.
So Ian will clip that up. We'll add some people. We'll see what we can do there, man. We'll see if we can extend the reach here a little bit. But because what I think is going to happen is I think you're going to make it on that show. And I think the day after you make on that show, you're going to go, man, you're going to buy something or you're going to have an experience. You're going to feel it for like a minute, right?
I'm throwing it out there in the universe, making my daily deposits,
It'll happen. And then what'll happen the next day is you'll pick a new goal because I just think that's part of who you are. And you'll be like, yeah, that was good, but I really ain't going to make it till I'm on, till I'm on this show. Yeah, I'm going to be on Sway in the morning or something. I'm going to really make it then. And you'll be like, I got to get a video. And then but that's okay, right? Because I think as humans, much less men, I think we need to chase. I think we need something that we're pursuing.
Yeah, and without that, I've been lost. Like I was literally just like up in the air, like a leaf in the wind, so to speak.
Yeah, we're not meant to be aimless. So how in that 3 years since you started to put it together, we'll acknowledge you being a work in progress. What has changed for you in a positive way about your own mental health, about your relationships? Are you starting to see the improvement, or are you still having struggles there?
I think I'm still having struggles while also seeing improvement at the same time.
Fair.
I think more improvement than struggles now, so more than ever, because of the people who I'm surrounded with. So that takes a lot into the energy, the vibrations, and the frequency that I'm at. So I think this year is really a huge stepping stone for me to really take a step in that direction.
Yeah, I think it's important what you said there too, because it's like we talked about earlier, it's not a straight line, right? So even though you are seeing more improvements, this idea that it magically just all changes, I think that's disrupted a lot of people's recoveries, a lot of people's journey through mental health, because they think there's this line that like on this side I feel bad and on that side I feel good. And that's not really how it works. It's kind of ups and downs. You may feel better one day, worse the next. But you're, over a long enough trend, you're moving up, right? But on the day-to-day, there's those little variations.
I'm just not going to let the technicalities get in the way of me embracing the journey and the process, because this is what it's all about.
Yeah.
Life is going to come with ups and downs, twists and turns, but we could only go left before we need to go right. You know what I mean? So it's just important to continue to keep like-minded people around us, because if we don't, and we have low vibrational people around us, they will bring us down.
Yeah.
Way more than we could ever bring them up.
Yeah. And you know that because you had that influence on others in a not great way. The vibration was down. Yeah.
When my vibration and I'm vibrating at a low frequency, everything is, to me, it seems like the whole space that I'm in is just bad.
Yeah.
But when I'm great and everything is great, everything is like
Yeah.
It's like paradise.
Because like attracts like, right? Yeah. So some of the terminology you're using with the vibration, the frequencies, and I mean, you're into this as far as manifesting, and you feel like, I mean, so where did you discover that? Has that been recent as well?
No, I was very spiritual. I was
Gotcha.
always spiritual.
Gotcha.
I think just because of I was grown up and raised in the church and me being forced to be religious
Mm.
and defend a certain specific religion my whole life, but not knowing why, I leaned more into spirituality the older I got.
Interesting words. Forced, defend. I mean, just interesting relationship.
So, yeah, when I started to look more into spirituality, I always knew that the world, the universe revolved around energy, vibration, frequencies.
Yeah.
And energy is really one of the things that humans, how we interact with each other. Like we don't even need to talk.
Yeah.
We could just look, walk past each other before I can just get the whole scoop on anybody.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we have those people in our life, right, that we meet and we feel like almost like we've missed them and we didn't even know them. You know what I mean? Like you connect right away. You start to feel like almost relief that they're in your life again. You know what I mean? And like a week ago, you didn't know who they were.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, I'm not like one of those too woke. I'm not like one of those too woke people who are like, oh, like, hey, you know what I mean? I'm just, you know what I mean? I'm spiritual. You dig what I'm saying? I'm spiritual. I got a connection with the higher source of power.
Yeah.
Speaking of a higher source of power, why does God have a he, a she? Why does he have a noun?
Probably the church I was raised in, it's probably because his representative, who did he send to earth, right? It was Jesus in human form, and he was a man. And so I think it's easy, that transitive property of there was a man must be masculine energy.
This ain't that type of podcast. You know what I'm saying?
It can be.
It was just a question. We don't want to get too woke in here for the people right now.
It can be. No, it's funny in the recovery, which I meant to ask you, when you stop, I mean, when you got I don't even know, we won't get into too much of your details, but as far as getting control of your drinking and substance abuse, did you just do that solo, or did you go through a program? Did you get professional help?
I did that solo. Dolo.
Yeah.
I stopped drinking for like a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
It wasn't even that long. It was like a couple of weeks.
Right.
I went back home because I was working away from home. I went back home to visit my family. My family members looked at me. They were like, yo, CJ, you look way better. I can see it on your face.
Yeah.
And I was like, really?
Yeah.
That's what not drinking for a couple of weeks does?
Gotcha. Yeah. And that's just, you like that positive reinforcement?
I love that positive reinforcement. Like, they didn't really understand how much that meant to me in the long term, because it was like, I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that. If they never said anything, I would still be walking around like my shit don't stink.
Yeah. Which is an important thing for family members, because they talk about when people are in addiction, like, how can I help the person I love who's struggling with addiction? And a lot of it is to just be real and not pull punches, both positive and negative, right? Because they need that feedback.
Yeah.
You get so wrapped up in yourself, you really can't see outside. So having that outside view of you, I think, is helpful.
And sometimes people like doing more than just saying something, like, that doesn't help. Sometimes people just need you to just say something.
Right.
Just say something. It could be just some positive reinforcement.
Yeah.
And you never know what that might do for the person.
Yeah. So, yeah, we don't have to go back to it, but that's what in recovery world they say, the God of your understanding, right? So who cares if it's a guy or a girl or whatever? It's just this idea that there's something more than me, something bigger than me, you know. That's interesting. That's really interesting. So with a lot of this being about identity, you know, one thing I want to say, I'm stuck in a thought. Them coming in and telling you look good after 3 weeks of not drinking is like the sobriety equivalent of holding up that newspaper when you were in
walking to my freshman year. Yes. That
Yeah.
it brought back that dopamine in my brain. I was like, damn, like
you
these
loved
people,
it.
they love me. Like they love me for me. They care about me. It's not just they're not faking it. The shit real. If they didn't give a fuck about me, they would still have let me walk around that house.
Yeah.
And not have said nothing.
Yeah. You ever tell them how much that meant? You ever go back around and
Yeah.
Yeah, you can save somebody's life on accident sometimes. You know what I mean?
Just with a few words.
The right word at the right time, or caring enough to offer some words, right? Because you said they didn't have to do that. They didn't say anything, but they cared enough to share that.
It was the way they said it, because they could have said it differently in like a sarcastic, rude way. They could have been like, damn, yo, I see you ain't been drinking like that, CJ. All right, you sure you don't want a beer? But they were like, yo, bro, you look a lot better. I see you stopped drinking.
Supporting the good habit, like it's a good thing. Yeah. The other one would have felt like judgment. Judging you for all the past drinking, not celebrating your current choices.
Sobriety, right, or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How does that mix with music? Because listen, I'm not a musician, but
it does not mix with music.
Okay, that's my thought.
Being sober does not mix with music.
And are you fully sober? Like that's your thing. You're sober.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Not all the time.
Okay.
When I wake up, I'll be sober, but
you're not drinking 12 beers every day and hiding. Yeah.
No. I might have a drink.
Yeah.
I'll have a drink, but
yeah.
In terms of waking up and buying a 12-pack, coming home and drinking that whole 12-pack, hell no. That 12-pack will last me like almost 2 weeks now.
Yeah. You don't have as much to hide from.
No, I have nothing. I'm, so to speak, free. But when it comes to music and creating, it's hard to be in a space where you don't want to think about the outside external things that you just came from while being in a creative mindset to be able to put out the best work. So having the liquor, the alcohol, or the weed, or that just helps, what do I want to say, liberate?
Yeah, it helps the creative process because you're more free to share those things.
Yeah, I'm just free in my own head, and it has nothing to do with anybody else.
Just like if you're at a bar, you'd be more likely to say things to a girl, that liquid courage.
That liquid courage, yeah.
That you wouldn't if you were sober. But now you can say things to the world. So.
And that's something that doesn't get talked about in the music industry.
Sure.
It's like the health of the artists is, they get laughed at and like, oh, why is he still on drugs? Why is he still doing this? Like, bro, like, do you know
the pressures?
You know what it takes to create the music that you like? I mean, you never know what type of day I be having, or Nicki Minaj or Meek Mills or Lil Baby or Gunna. You never know what type of day they be having. So it's like, yo, like sometimes a dude might have to take a couple puffs of that joint, and then you know what I mean, get back on that mic, and he'll come in there, spin that fire.
Yeah. Well, because the reality is, let's just call it what it is. People don't care. Once you show you can produce that and it can be monetized, now you're a commodity.
Mm-hmm.
Just like an actress, just like an assembly line worker, just like anything.
They're gonna give you all the shit that you need to stay awake and keep making hits.
Just like a cow. You need this antibiotic to keep producing milk.
Uh-huh.
You need to be locked in a cage and force-fed grass all day.
Hey.
Boom. Here you go.
Hey.
Because we need that milk.
We need it.
It's horrible to talk about that, right? But that's what happens, man. People become cattle like that. And it's in every field. It's not just artistry. But that's the scary part about making it, because then you are not just an artist, you're a commodity. And I agree with you 100% because athletes fall into this too. I have a good friend I went to grad school with. She works with athletes and their families, and they lose who they are. They're no longer the father, the husband, the friend. You're the quarterback, and you need to throw those touchdowns.
You need those touchdowns.
No matter what.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you stop throwing them, we don't care about the rest of that piece.
We don't.
Yeah, at all.
The love stops. You actually start getting hate.
Yeah. That's it.
The hate's real bad.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, boy. Start being trash. Start throwing interceptions.
Sit in the crowd, dude, of any, high-level sporting event and listen to how people talk to kids. College. Forget pros. They'll tell kids in college they're going to kill them. You fucking suck. You're worthless. You're trash. Your girlfriend's this. Your mom's this. You suck. Kill yourself. As a mental health professional, the amount of times I've sat in a stadium and heard adults yell at children, man, 18, 19 years old, "Oh, fucking kill yourself." What are we doing?
Whoa.
What are we doing?
Jesus.
And then we wonder why somebody speeds. We wonder why they get caught with weed. We wonder why they have a troubled relationship with their girlfriend. It's like, I'm all for cheer for the home team, but let's not destroy people's lives in the process.
Man.
Everybody that's on that field, everybody that's in that studio is a kid that had a dream.
Yeah.
and then spent decades.
Whenever I'm in the stands, I never say anything. I think that's the baseball in me.
Yeah,
I think that's the baseball, baseball coaches, baseball players. We don't, when we're in the stands, we don't say shit.
It's not the people that were ever in the arena that ever do that stuff.
It's never,
It's the guy
never.
who got cut in junior high. Everybody's open from the couch.
He got cut from the JV squad.
You suck. I can see from my couch that dude was open. Throw it there. Like, dude, those aren't the people.
As a
you
matter of fact, speaking of the JV squad, when I walked on to AIC, the baseball team, my freshman year, right? And during the fall, this guy named Mike Coyne, never forget it. We're taking batting practice, just like taking BP.
Yeah.
We're picking up the balls after he takes his rounds. There's this one baseball that has these 2 letters on it. It said JV. Now, there's no fucking JV program in fucking college.
Right.
It's fucking the baseball team.
Yeah.
And then you have the extracurricular.
Yeah, club teams.
The club team.
Yeah.
So this motherfucker was playing with me. I'm like, all right. He gave me this baseball. He was like, this is what you're going to be on. I said, word? Mind you, he was a second year senior or some shit like that.
Like a red shirt.
He wasn't even a red shirt. Actually, you know what? He was a red shirt. He had a red shirt that year because he got hurt.
Yeah.
Because he was hurt, so he couldn't even play.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right,
Yeah.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I go back home over winter break, talking to my brother. I told my brother, I was like, yo, I'm gonna win Rookie of the Year this year. He was like, for real? I said, yeah, I'm gonna do it. So this guy named Brett. Brett was a senior captain. He played second base. Mind you, I told you I was an outfielder in high school, but I played infielder my whole life. Right. So when I get to college, I'm warming up to be in the outfield, and then I'm coming in the infield to take ground balls at the end. So we have a Gold Glove shortstop in Eddie Rich. Fire. One of the best shortstop I've ever played with.
You can pick it, yeah.
Man, when I tell you, we turned so many motherfucking double plays, we was turning double plays like we was motherfucking flipping pancakes.
Yep. Ball doesn't touch a glove.
What? Just quick, fast, and a hurry. But so shortstop was taken. I couldn't play shortstops, so that's why you see guys who have those on their player cards, their utility. They play second, outfield. So boom, I go to second base. I ended up taking the senior captain, Brett. I took his spot going into the spring training, going into the season. He was sick.
Yeah, as a true freshman, not easy to do, man.
As a true freshman, right? I wasn't redshirted.
Yeah,
no. But I struggled in the very beginning. I made 3 errors in 10 games. Too many errors.
Yeah,
too many errors. So what's that? Multiply that's 30 and 100. Yeah, that's way too many fucking errors. So I got benched. They put Brett back in. He kept making. The thing is, he makes more errors.
Yeah.
He makes more errors than I do, and actually his errors. Anyways.
Yeah.
So I ended up taking his spot, getting the position back, and I ended up running with it. I ended up finishing that season hitting .315 with a on base of like .415 and a slugging of like .380 or something like that. But it was such a. I looked up at the end of the year, and after all the work that I put in, Coach Fenton, he came over to me. He was like, "Yo, bro, you run Rookie of the Year," and I was like, "No, I didn't. You lied to me." He pulls out his phone. He was like, "Yo, look at this, dog. This is on the NE10, the NE10 website right here." I was like, "Word?" So that's the part of manifestation when I started to believe that spirituality was really a thing, because
you put it out, came back.
Put it out, I came back.
Yeah.
So I'm putting this out there again.
Here it comes.
Uncle Los, Chico Bean, DC on Fly, the 85 South Show. Get me on there. And Poor Minds too. Shout out to Dre and Lex.
There you go. You're gonna make it a couple times.
Yeah.
You'll be there, man. It'll come back. Might take you a while, right?
It might take me a while. But if it only takes time,
we all have that. We're here anyway, right? So, if this whole thing being about identity loosely, and kind of you transitions through different identities, who were you then? And who are you now? What's changed?
the reasons why I do what I do. I think I was playing baseball because I wanted to make millions of dollars. And I started to rethink that during one training session. I was taking batting practice with my coach, and he was like, "What is the goal here? What is your goal when you step to the plate?" And I was like, "To get to home base, because I'm in the batter's box, so I would think my goal is to score a run, right?" And then he was like, "No, it's to make $1 million." And I was like, I've never played the game to make millions of dollars. It was because I loved the game itself. So once I started to realize that other people were just in it for the money, I realized that I wasn't even in it for the fucking money.
Right.
So if I'm not in it for what the reasons why they into it for, why should I?
Yeah.
It just really
Didn't fit?
No, I didn't fit.
So what about now? So who are you now?
Now, I am Nephew4Real from the Untouchables. I'm an artist, young black man from the state of New Hampshire, 27 years old. Got a whole lot more life to live, got a whole lot of life to give. Still figuring things out.
Yeah.
Just as the next man is, as we all are. Yeah. Shit. You know, I try to be the best person I can be. I try to do the right thing. But, you know, life, it is what it is. Life is what it is. I am who I am now. Fuck. I'm still trying to figure that out, honestly.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Work in progress, man.
It's a work in progress.
Yeah.
It's a work in progress.
What about through that transition, how has your relationship with others changed? What about your personal relationships, your family relationships, before and after? How's that changed?
It's so different now.
Yeah.
People look at me in a different light. It's they don't see Nephew, they see CJ. They remember me as CJ. The way I used to talk before, I would never talk this freely before. It was like a script. I was speaking like a robot. Like if you were to imagine Russell Wilson in like a me version of me talking, like that's kind of like what you would hear.
Yeah.
So even when I go back home, I go back and I see people that I seen back in the day who used to see me growing up. They look at me now and they hear me talk. It's like, bro, you're not even like the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's different.
Is that helping you connect? I mean, are people able to get closer to you now because you are more free with that, or are you still kind of work in progress there as well? Yeah.
I don't think so.
Why not?
You're
not ready. They're not ready. A little bit of both.
I think maybe a little bit of both. Yeah. Maybe a little bit of both.
Yeah. You okay with that? They can feel lonely.
I'm cool with it. I've accepted it.
Yeah.
With this ability that I have to make music, if I need to be away for a long period of time in order for my family to be all right and create generational wealth, so be it.
That's the goal. Yeah. Once again, being a team player again. All right. So I'll ask you a question you're probably not going to be comfortable with. Same type of question I just asked you. But what about your relationship with yourself before and now? How has that changed? How your personal mental health, how you think about yourself, how you talk to yourself, how are you with you compared to back then?
I think back then I was way more close to myself back then. Like when I was playing sports up until I was about 20, 21, 22, it's like I knew who I was every day. But then once I stopped, I had this type of disconnect with myself in here, where it was like, damn, well, without baseball, who am I? So it was like, I don't need to have anything outside for me to be who I am. So it took me a while to like just accept that.
Yeah. I'm thinking about that though, because you found yourself in a better position once you found another external thing through your music, right? That was when it all kind of changed for you. So I don't know. I'm not challenging the idea, but I wonder if there's something about that for you looking external that allows you to improve things internally. Maybe that's just part of your story.
Because music, I'm not making songs about anybody else. I mean, my lyrics, you may hear me say you, they, he, she, or he or you, or I'm really talking about myself.
Yeah.
I'm really talking about myself. And through music, I've been able to connect with myself more by listening back to the stories that I'm telling, to the picture that I'm painting with my words.
Yeah.
And then I start to feel like, okay, like, you know, yeah.
And isn't that a beautiful thing, man? The deeper you dig, and the more you give of yourself, the more you get for yourself, right? You're getting more out of it by virtue of the more.
Yeah,
you're
and then
away.
which each song I make, I'm figuring more and more about myself.
Is that the goal? Tell us about your music. I mean, I'm going to try to hype you. We're just trying to learn you, but what's your music about?
So, in music, we rap about life and we rap about death. That's what music is about. I guess with the way that I like to create is I like to paint a picture. I like to paint things as black, paint it as white, and then add a gray area in between, which is my life, the way I choose to live, or how I've lived my life up until now, and how I'm living it still concurrently. But I just want my music to be something that you can listen to. I want my music to be something that you could just be like, all right, I want to go on. I got to drive for a couple hours. I can play Nephew for a whole hour and a half. I don't even want to turn it off.
Yeah. So they can kind of lose themselves a little bit, right?
Yeah, so you can figure more stuff about you if you can see yourself in me a little bit as well.
What do you think people get wrong about music, right? Because like I don't know anything about music, and I look at the music industry, and I can connect with it in terms of artistry because I think therapy is a form of art. So I can see similarities there. We're trying to find our way to the same places, but I don't know. I think sometimes musicians get judged, and people don't quite understand what they're really trying to do.
The artist itself, it's not the music, it's not the product. It's the artist itself. They get a lot of flack. They catch a lot of hate for really, like, honestly, no reason.
Yeah.
Like, for the shit that we say.
Yeah.
Not the shit that
we're
not the music that we're creating. It's
I don't like you. Like they just judge you.
It's like, you didn't like me for motherfucking saying shit. You like me for creating music. Why are you motherfucking on my ass about me saying some shit that you don't agree with? I have an opinion just like you have an asshole.
Yeah. Is that so? I'm interested in this because I'm really like curious about this impact of like social media, right? And how we live in a different world. Like, well, I didn't have any of this when I was growing up. You know, my kids are growing up just in literally a different planet than I grew up in, right? That feedback, is that coming on an individual level, or is that on social? Is that like, how is that coming back to you when they're giving you that negative feedback, or they're messing with you, or they're judging you? Like, how are you receiving that?
I don't even get negative feedback.
Okay, it's not happening for you.
I don't. I've gotten probably a couple negative feedbacks on a couple tracks, but I don't even pay it no mind. Negativity doesn't.
Yeah. Overwhelmingly positive feedback.
Yeah.
But you're still sitting on all that stuff, even though everybody likes your stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's like kindergarten, man. It might be time to share. You need to share, man. You know, share your toys with your friends.
Because,
you know,
maybe
the universe is ready.
So.
Even if you're not.
I was thinking the universe wasn't ready for a long time.
Yeah.
But, you know, why think that way?
Maybe you were worried about you being ready, and you still might not be ready, but maybe it's not about you.
It's not about me.
So we're close on time, man. I appreciate your honesty and all this stuff. One thing I do want to ask, though, we try to leave with some, like, you know, not necessarily advice, but just perspective on that. If you could go back in time and talk to the you that was stuck in that dark place, or you could talk to another person that's listening to this that's in that place now, they're hearing elements of their daily life in you describing your life. Any tips for them? Any guidance? Any support? Anything you wish you could have said to that version of you?
So if I'm going to say something to my younger self, to anybody else out there who's listening to this, and you have been listening for the last hour or so, live life every day like you're going to die. Continue to keep going. And as long as you do that, you'll be fine. Take no days off.
You feel like that's what you weren't doing during that time? Taking some days off?
just living each moment. Life is about trade-offs, moments, opportunities, right? How can we distinguish one-shot opportunities for everyday moments, things that we can do every day? This isn't something that I can do every day, right? I can't sit down and talk to you.
Yeah.
I can't have some producers in the studio.
Yeah.
This is one of those one-shot moments. So it's important that if I was to look back and tell myself to make sure I capitalize on those one-shot moments, those opportunities, and take the trade-offs that come with living every day like you're going to die like it's your last. Because tomorrow's not promised.
Yeah. Thinking of that one-shot moment, I'm still thinking about that ride home, right? Like, and I know a producer, like, there's no accidents, man. Everything happens for a reason, and there was definitely some meaning and reason behind that moment. And if you're not living that way, you're not on the lookout for those, like you call a one-shot moment. Could just been a ride home.
Could have just been a regular ride home. I probably would have might have quit that job. Not for real, because I was already getting sick of that job. Yo.
The last ride home. Like, you need a ride tomorrow? Like, nah, I'm good.
I'm straight. I ain't like that funk ass job anyways.
Yeah, you like your life now?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love my life. I'm living living life right now. I'm having a great time every day. I'm waking up with a purpose, with like just. Yo, life is great right now. Yeah. Life is great.
Yeah, I love that, man. I'm living. You know, some people out there that trapped feel like they're on that hamster wheel. They're just existing. Whatever it means for you individually, you got to get to a place where you feel like you're living.
I'm just living. That's it.
Yeah,
I'm taking everything that comes with it.
Yeah, it doesn't mean you need $1 million. You know, it doesn't mean it's got to be perfect. Actually, you're kind of more living when it's not perfect. You know, because success has its own traps, and you can fall into that mindset of just like, it's just another day.
Just another day.
I got my money. And, how many times am I going to swim in my pool? You know, like.
Yo, that's the mindset that I had back then.
Yeah.
I wasn't really living every day like it was my last.
Yeah.
So it's more incumbent to me now to do that.
Yeah. So you get more out of it. It's good, man. Nephew4Real, man. How do we find you? How do people find you and check out your stuff? And all this music you're about to drop, where's it going to,
Hey, man, y'all can follow me on all platforms as Nephew4Real, Instagram, Apple Music, Spotify, Twitter, Facebook, everything, man. Dropping all my music is going to be released on Apple Music. Really, all the DSPs, honestly. So we got a lot of stuff coming for you. I got a lot of things that I'm cooking up right now behind the scenes. So stay tuned. Thank you for having me up on the show today.
Yeah, man. Let's do it again, man. Thank you for the time. Appreciate your honesty. You know, you think musician, you think rap, you think all this stuff like that, man. You've really kind of broken down some stereotypes, humanized, artists, right? Like, we're just people trying to figure this stuff out. And I'm telling you, man, I tell people to come on there. Somebody's going to hear this. And, maybe after you've made it, there's going to be somebody coming behind you like, hey, man, I heard you. And I started living.
Yeah.
And here I am.
Just live, man. That's it. Just live.
Yeah.
Just live. Why? Don't worry about nothing else.
Yeah.
We all got a time to go.
Yeah. If you don't live, you run the risk of safely making it to your death. And then what?
And then what?